Welcome to the Hidden Wire podcast. This is episode 1016. My interview with Sergey Young. We're discussing the science and technology of growing young. Enjoy. Sergey, welcome to the Hidden Wire podcast. Great to have you here. Take two. We'll press the record button now. Good to have you here, mate. How are you?
Hi, Lee. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Yeah, us too, mate. You've got a fantastic book that's certainly got my attention, The Science and Technology of Growing Young. Are you a person that wants to live forever, or are you just interested in this field? Like, what's the go? Why did you write this book?
Yeah, so, look, I'm a longevity investor and a book author. And what do I think? My plan is to live to 200 years.
200
healthy
years.
and happy years. Yeah.
Is that actually possible?
I know it's completely irresponsible promise, knowing what I know about current technologies and science, but this is my dream and I'm working on that.
I've always said I'd like to live forever, or at least a long, long life. Whether I make the right choices to do so or not is a different question, but I know a lot of people out there, they say, no, we're happy to live to 60 or 80 or whatever it might be. They don't want to live forever.
Yeah.
You find that?
Yeah, that's true. So 60 to 80% at least in developed world. So 60 to 80% of people living in the developed world, they against life extension. They don't want to add, any single year to their life. And that's a little bit shocking for me, but I can appreciate and I can understand the logic and feelings while people feel that way. So people tend to go very binary when they are faced with a choice whether they want to live longer or not. Speaking of immortality, I'm not a big fan of immortality. And we like, knowing what I know from
why is that?
longevity.
Why aren't you a big fan of immortality?
So longevity. Okay, why is that? First of all, it's impossible. Immortality is going to be our way of living longer or even forever is going to be realized in a way like every 3 to 5 to 7 years we would need to make a choice whether we add another 5 to 10 years to our life, given the advancements in technology and science. So it's not going to be like a day and time when you will need to decide to live forever. It's more like a series of your life extension decisions that you would need to make, and that's actually makes our life interesting. But in long story short, I think if you take out the death from the human life cycle, we're not going to be humans, or we're going to be completely different kind of humans. And I kind of like the way our life cycle is designed today.
What do you mean by that? The life cycle that it's designed today?
Yeah, so what I'm saying
we've got a lot of props that boost us up, but I think we've also got a lot of things that actually are killing us that perhaps is now shortening lifespan.
Yes, that's true. And well, let's look at figures, right? 90% of deaths after the age of 50 are driven by 4 diseases. I call them killer monsters. Cancer, heart disease, diabetes, neurodegenerative diseases. That's it. So that's 90% of that. And they all called age-related diseases. So with the age, after aging processes starts to manifest and develop in your body, which is usually after age of 40 or 45, your chances to die from these diseases are exponentially growing. And well, that's the whole point, and this is what we're trying to fight with. And so my enemy is aging and aging processes, and I do think we are living in very unique moment of time in the history of humanity, where we finally know all 3,000 genes in our DNA which are responsible for aging. And if we can slow down aging by genetic means or by any other technologies, which are currently in development, we're going to be different humans.
Did you say 3,000?
Yeah, it's so our DNA is probably around 3 billion different genes, and 3,000 genes within our DNA that are responsible for longer and healthier living. Yeah, for aging.
3,000. Okay. So you're saying we can now do things, either, I guess, short-term, long-term activities, or is it medicine that we can do to help alter that, so we can keep those genes in a better state longer?
Yeah. So there are a number of horizons that we would approach on our way to longer living. And if you look at my book, I'll talk about 3 different periods of time. So one is like what you can do now to live longer and healthier and happier version of your life. And it's like a separate bonus chapter right in the end of the book. It is about 10 longevity choices that you can make today. And some of them are high tech, not a lot. Some of them are low tech, and all these lifestyle changes that we all know, like changing your diet, exercise, physical activity routine, doing regular medical screenings, meditating, making sure you're taking care of your mental health. So that's now.
That's all the stuff that we constantly get.
Yeah, your mom told me that, right? Sorry, and sorry, my mom told me that. But from my perspective as a longevity investor, this is pretty low tech, and it's really difficult to implement because it does depend on our own discipline, and we humans are pretty lazy species, if I can put it this way.
Well, that's a big problem, isn't it? I mean, what can you do about that other than, if you're not a disciplined person and you don't have the right diet choices or exercise choices or whatever, then you're screwed.
Yeah, it's super difficult. So that's why I like 2 high-tech ways of taking care of your own health. One is making sure you do your medical screening every year.
Right.
And when I have 30 seconds on longevity, this is like the only thing that I tell people to do. The most important day of your life every year, obviously my wife has a different view on that question, is the day of your medical screening. Okay. Yeah. And right now we have the technology which can discover so many really fatal diseases at very early stage that give us an opportunity to really recover and fight this disease. Like early stage cancer have recovery rates of 90 to 100% these days for some of the cancer types. And late stage cancer would give you recovery rates anywhere between like 10 to 30%. See the difference? So that's kind of one way of being less disciplined,
so
but just making sure.
Medical screenings, huh?
Yeah, so that's one.
What is the thing there? Like I'm not one of those people that go to get a medical screening every year. What do you mean by medical screening? What do we do? Do we just go up our GP
So you just seen your doctor and saying, look, I'm approaching that age, right? Whether it's 40, 45, 50, obviously, above, and say, I know like the majority of deaths come from cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and neurodegenerative diseases. Can we design like a screening program for me which would eliminate or highlight the risks in this area? And this is not a rocket science. There's all pretty standard procedures like full body MRI, CT, not every year, ultrasound diagnostic of some of your body parts or your systems, right? A blood test, etc. And
shouldn't this be common practice now? Like, but if I have to go into my doctor, I feel that I'm going to have to sort of guide them on what I want. They're not going to be able to go, look, I know what a medical screening is. Let's do this.
We have different routines and different protocols all around the world. And we just need to remember the version of medicine and healthcare that we have today is very symptomatic. It's like emergency help, driven,
Yeah.
responding to disease which already manifested itself in a big way. But the version of medicine that we're going to see in the future, and that I want you and our audience to start practicing now, is much more preventive. And prevention is a great thing. It's 10 to 20 times less expensive, and it's super effective and super efficient. So I like that. Again, that's the power of medical screening. The other thing that I'd love all of us to discover is the power of wearables. Whether it's Apple Watch, Fitbit, Whoop, Oura Ring, Samsung Watch, it doesn't matter. We tend to think about this thing like a wearable which help us to count our steps or to show notification from WhatsApp. Yeah. They are becoming our personalized healthcare devices. I'll just use Apple Watch as an example. Yeah. But again, I'm using at least 4 different type of wearables with my 2 hands, which is a challenge. Yeah.
How do you keep track of it all?
Yeah, no, I'm using them from different things, and obviously I'm an investor, so I'd love to test things, specifically in the field of early diagnostic.
So have you got invested interest in Aura or Apple Watches or anything like that?
No, actually we haven't invested in. So I'm wearing Whoop. We are not investors there. We are not investors in Aura. I'm an investor in Apple through my personal equity investments. But this is one of the composition of S&P 500 or NASDAQ. I even forgot what's part of index is that. And obviously I'm not an investor in continuous glucose monitor that I'm wearing. But it's really interesting to track. So Apple Watch can detect 5 different types of heart risk called arrhythmia. It can detect when you fall down on the street. It can call ambulance for you and actually notify your loved ones that you need help. It can do electrocardiogram. This is not the most precise version of electrocardiogram in the world, but I know people who were helping people on the plane during the flight. They've been called as doctors, and like the first thing they've done, they take out their Apple Watch, put on person's hand and trying to understand, is there anything in the field of heart disease or heart risk that they're experiencing at the moment, right, during the flight. So then Apple would add few features, and a lot of different wearables will add the same features like glucose, detecting the level of glucose in your blood, hopefully in a non-invasive way, and measuring your blood pressure. This is going to be like 90% of the data that you want to collect on a permanent basis. And this would help AI algorithm to detect, are you having a problem? Are you in a risk area with your health and you require urgent help? But look, this is about today, right? There's a number of things that you can do today, but what we should expect in the next 5, 10, 15 years within the near horizon of longevity innovations. This is the term that I use in the book. We're going to see more exciting stuff. And this will come from gene editing and gene therapy. We will be able to treat so many diseases on a genetic level. This will come from completely different class of drugs called longevity drugs, and that's another chapter in the book. Some of the drugs we know today, like metformin, diabetes drug, which can be repurposed but should be tested for the purposes of fighting aging and therefore adding 2, 3, 5 healthy years to our life. Really? Or it can easily be a drug developed with the help of artificial intelligence. And the third area, which I think is super promising in the next 1 or 2 decades, is the area of regenerative medicine. And it's not only stem cells, it's also about replaceable organs or organ regenerations, where we will be able to use technologies to replace some of the organs or the systems inside our bodies.
What's the metformin you just talked about?
Yeah, so remember I said like three most promising things is genetic in gene therapy, longevity in the pill, and organ regeneration.
Yeah.
So metformin is one of the candidates for this new class of drugs.
Right.
And again, it can be new drug developed by
So this is a
AI
drug
or
for patients with diabetes?
yes, exactly. And it's been here in this world for the last 50 to 60 years. So
Yeah.
it has pretty safe or proven risk profile. It's been used massively in treating diabetes.
Yeah.
So therefore, just some people discovered or had a view that it can actually help well, the broader population rather than the one carrying the risk of diabetes.
So not if you don't have diabetes, you could take this and potentially help your lifespan.
So first of all, you would need to see your doctor and discuss that with him or with her, right?
Yeah.
So this is the pharmaceutical product, which obviously require not only my kind of advice. That's just one. Second, it hasn't been tested in the context of longevity. So it's been tested to help people with diabetes, but not with a broader population. So that's why we planning is to start a trial next year in the US to test metformin in the context of treating the broader population. In the context of metformin, hopefully being repurposed and reapproved as longevity drugs, as anti-aging drug. And that's it. So I do think we are probably around 3, 5, 7 years away from using metformin. But again, I would just rather wait and see the outcome of the trial.
What does it do actually? Like, what does it do to help longevity?
Yeah, it helps you to regulate your glucose level in the blood.
Right.
Yeah, that's as easy as that.
So it's proven beneficial. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're jumping back a bit, but I mean, I like the idea. I mean, we always talk about diet and exercise and things like that, and obviously they're the things immediately in our control. But medical checkups and wearables, they're all things. I don't have any wearables. Never have, but have been interested recently in looking into getting one just to monitor sleep and things like that. But certainly good recommendations there. Is there advice you can give people on what wearable to choose or how to get through the clutter? Because there's so many out there. Like, what do we do to make the choice?
Yeah. So look, I'm kind of reluctant to give people prescription in terms of which particular brand to prefer.
Yeah.
So on a general level, all wearables will become our personalized healthcare devices. This is imminent. This is going to happen in the next 2 to 3 years. So that's one. Second, I would stick to like a larger platform, Samsung, Google, which bought Fitbit, Apple with Apple Watch. I'm personally, again, this is my personal experience. You don't need to repeat it. I'm a big fan of Apple Watch because it actually is super helpful to measure your sleep cycle and establish the feedback loop between the quality of your sleep and some of your choices that you made on the day before. It's amazing in terms of stimulating you to do more physical activity. So since I started to use Apple Watch and they have this nice motivational system when you have like electronic awards, well, literally on the screen of the clock or your app on iPhone. If you completed this number of steps during the day, or you've done it through the week, or you had like a great month when you completed all your movement and physical activity goals through this month, it's kind of gamifying your relationship with physical activity. But this is what actually helps me a lot. And again, Apple is one of the biggest investors in healthcare. I actually believe, well, it's not me. I've seen a report a year and a half ago from one of the global investment banks saying that Apple might generate half of its revenue from healthcare in the end of this decade. Yeah. And frankly speaking, obviously I'm not saying big tech is like necessarily only good things. There's just a lot of controversy around that, but I'm not really afraid of that, because the version of healthcare which will be brought by Microsoft, Apple, a lot of startups that we're supporting in the field of healthcare is much more data driven, technology based, much more proactive, and it's like super personalized.
Yeah.
Forget about like, you know, is it for male or for female? It's going to be really personalized for you.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's almost like an opportunity for us to experience completely different version of healthcare, much more technological and much
Definitely
more
futuristic. I
preventive.
guess the concerns that you could raise is, you know, how they track us and all the information they
Yeah.
contain about us, and how they use that to manipulate us or coerce us into perhaps decisions that we wouldn't have otherwise made. But on the other hand, like you said, we're humans and not very good disciplines, i.e. I've never had a medical checkup. You know, these sort of devices will force us to think about those things and have medical checkups, which must be obviously good for health.
Exactly. Can I ask you, how old are you, Lee?
I'm 40, just 40.
40, just go for it. This is actually the time where, so think about it like from evolutionary perspective, Mother Nature needs you, well, first somewhere around 20 years before you become reproductive and can take care of kids. Then another 20 years to take care of kids and hopefully to transfer wisdom to the next generation. But then after 40, what is happening? We have this genetic program where aging starts. So you wouldn't really compete for resources, because Mother Nature never had abundance as a values, right? As a paradigm when it's designed humans. So right after age of 40, aging will start to manifest itself and start to develop more and more inside your body and brain. So I do think it's a perfect time to start resetting your relationship with healthcare. And think about this. We delegated all our health-related decisions to other parties. Big food, big pharma, governments, hospitals, insurance companies.
Yeah.
And like, where's our voice? I'm not saying you need to become a doctor, but you need to have your say or have your view or develop the view on very important things which are related to your health. So start with Journey. You'll really love it.
So get a medical screening.
Yes.
What
you can like, it sounds, can I just, sorry to interrupt you, like I'm just getting excited about this whole, you couldn't imagine, I'm not MD, right? So I'm not a medical doctor, but I have this unique opportunity to save human lives. And I've done it by doing what I just did with our audience, sending everyone to do medical screening. You couldn't even imagine how many people called me up and said, Sergey, you saved my life. I discovered early stage cancer, and because it was early stage, I'm now fully recovered. And quality of my life is the same. I took it out from the body. There's a number of technologies and interventions to do this. Like, you literally saved my life. Yeah. And this is what I'm doing now. So it might sound a little bit theoretical, but it's not. It's like bloody practical.
You're in the United States, aren't you?
I spend most of my time there.
Yeah. And is it more common that people can go to a doctor or whoever and say, look, I want a medical screening, and they know what to advise them on, or do people still have to? Because I would have thought this now is something that's fairly easy to go in and say, hey, I want a medical screening, and, you know, tell me what my body's like, you know?
Yeah, so it does depend from the country.
Yeah. And
in some of the countries, preventive screening is a part of the like your insurance plan or what is offered. Yeah. And this is great. This is just recognizing preventive version of medicine. In some of the countries, your healthcare system will happily take care of your emergency needs, but I like everything which is like planned in advance will not be covered. And this is where I have tricky conversations with people from all around the world. People would usually say like, well, Sergey, why do I need to spend like I don't know, $2,000 a year to take care of this medical screening? And I'm usually like asking people, you know, how much money they spend on their car, on their fuel, or on the maintenance of their own car.
A fairly good
most of
investment.
most of us spend 10 times more on our car, if you also include the cost of ownership, rather than our own health. But I do think our body and mind are much more precious and important for us than cars. But that's
100%.
just mentality. That's just paradigm change that we all need to have.
Yeah. But I think that, you know, that medical screening process will help people, if you identify anything early, will help that making of behavior change and decision making.
Exactly. Yeah. So we discuss what we can do now. We discuss what we should expect in the next 10, 15 years within the near horizon of longevity innovation. But also, we just need to make sure we stay on longevity bridge. We stay, you know, as healthy and as happy as possible at this state, so we can enjoy the benefits of these innovations. And there's something really far away, like 25, 50 years from now, when we're going to be completely different. We can be living far beyond 122 years, which is maximum lifespan.
How far away do you think that is?
I think it's 25 to 50 years, but it's going to be completely different humans. It's going to be genetically edited humans against a lot of genetic diseases. We're going to have a human brain computer interface. We are going to be living in a world of human avatars and world which consists of Internet of Bodies. This is similar to what we know today is Internet of Things. We're all going to be full of sensors, right? And artificial intelligence will help us to identify smallest risk related to our health. But it's completely different. It's like humans 2.0, where man and machine will become one. And frankly speaking, I mean, if you look 25, 50 years from now, the biggest obstacles for the new world is not going to be science. It's not going to be technology, because I'm pretty sure we solve both of this. It's going to be human ethics and regulation. We have created technologies to extend our life, but we haven't created life that we want to extend. This actually comes back to the beginning of our conversation.
Explain that
60 to 80%. Yeah. So what I'm saying, like 60 to 80% of people, they don't want to have a longer life. And this is a problem. We need to fix the world. And there's so many ethical choices and dilemmas associated with longer living. Like, what about inequality gap? Would longevity and all these technologies give us an opportunity to close that? Or world would become more divided? That's one. Second, what about our relationship with Mother Nature? Today, you can afford to be irresponsible, because, I mean, you think, I'm going to die in 20 years and then next generation will sort out this plastic in the ocean or anything else.
Yeah.
In a world where we are going to be living 120, 150 years, we would face the consequences of our own actions. Well, the other thing, and this is really fascinating for me and interesting, all these social constructs that we have in today's world was created for the world where the average person were living 35 years. And I'm talking about marriage. I'm talking about lifelong career, full-time employment, or full-time retirement. In the world where we're going to live, well, 120, 150 years, it's not going to be one career for you. Can I have as many careers as decades in my life? Or marriage. Look at marriage. 2/3 of the marriages are going through divorce in the first 5 years after the wedding.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. Like, and we still have this binary, like black and white, married, non-married. Can we help people to organize their relationship and to be mutually responsible for raising kids, even if they are not, if they are not in love anymore?
Yeah.
We would need to have flexibility in actually helping people and make more kids happy and support it. Or this full-time retirement, full-time job thing. Two most dangerous years of your life is the year of your birth, because we still have pretty high infant mortality in this world, and year of your retirement, because people lose the social connections, the opportunity for social realization. They almost feel like they are turning from assets for society to liabilities.
Yeah.
So in the future world, it's not going to be binary. Like part-time employment, different time of engagement will be super supportive. So like when I think about my own life, I'm not going to go on retirement. I'm just continue to be engaged in so many different projects.
Yeah, I
can go on and on. Yeah, it's just
something, but
it's an endless topic. Yeah,
it's a really important one. I was going to bring up that question because whether you like the idea or not of living to 120 or 200 years old, that obviously extends life for the population, and the population's already to a breaking point. Like, how do we
manage
keep up with food supplies and manage that side of things? How do we manage climate change based on a bigger population and a growing population? How do we manage the aging population? Because we consider that above 65, you're in the aging population that we have to support. But why should that be the case? Why can't we have 65 to 100 being still productive years?
Yeah, exactly. So that's one. I'm not concerned about food, probably with the exception of African continent. Because well, I do think African continent would require a lot of our effort and help from the outside to solve food shortage problem.
Right.
Outside that, like, look at the US, 45% of food from supermarkets and households and restaurants go to waste every night. 45%. Yeah. We just need to be much more efficient with food distribution. Population is an easy thing. So if you look at any meaningful prediction or forecast of population numbers for the planet, from today's 8 billion, this will peak up to 11 billion around 2050. And then it will go down to 8 billion again by the end of the century.
Oh.
Why is that? Because reproduction rates for majority of countries in the world, again, with exception of African continent, which historically has higher reproduction rates, are so low that for every female today, we have 1.3 kids. That's it. So we are nowhere near of reproducing ourselves. So China will lose, from today's 1.4 billion people, will lose 600 million by the end of the century if they will not respond. So
is
it's
that because
not like,
of the way of life that we don't have?
Yes, like
many
we
kids
have
now,
so many alternatives. Yeah, exactly. We have so many alternatives, both for male and female part of the population. People just, take a different alternative path rather than dedicated their time and resources to kids. That's it.
I can't understand why the population will decrease, but if we're still having 1.3 kids for every person or every woman.
No, for every female. So
every
male male will always need female to reproduce. So like if it's easier for you, like for every couple, like 2 people, reproduction is 1.3. So this below 2.
So there's going to be more deaths than births.
Oh yeah, exactly. And this is what we.
But if we're living longer, then how is that the case?
So like I do believe that extending productive stage of our life is a potential response to this silver tsunami and demographic crisis on a world scale. I'm not trying to like be dramatic here, but these are the facts. Yeah, these are like real facts.
Yeah, no, it's just interesting to think that if we've got a population that could potentially live to 120 or 200. Plus, we're still producing. How can how can such a big population decrease so dramatically? It seems.
Well, it's big figures, and we're talking about 8 billion people today, and majority of us, like every couple would have less than 2 kids. So that's a certain inertia through the human lives. But that's actually, if you think about this, it's a pretty simple calculation that you can do just on a country basis.
Yeah. So with the longevity, I mean, you talk about gene technology and editing our genes as being a big part of that. Do you think we'll have? I mean, could we still be classified as humans, or would be more sort of robotic, living in computers? Like, how do you see that playing out?
So, where do I start? Well, first of all, I'm not big fan of like virtual worlds, right? I would love to stay in a material world. So that's kind of one thought. The second thought.
Do you think virtual worlds will become a fairly commonplace?
Oh yeah. That's like knowing what I know from like investment and technological perspective. I'm gonna tell you the story in a minute, which was like shocking realization for me about human avatars. So that's kind of one thought. Second thought, like because we're living today and we're speaking today, like we tend to overestimate our importance and our excellence in the process of evolution. But in the end of the day, right, we're not going to be like final design of the humans, right? In 100,000, 10,000, like million years from now, it's going to be different humans, okay? Yep. And we need to accept that. Then the usual paradigm was that it's going to be different humans in a real material world. But since we invented, computing power and virtual world, we can easily migrate there. I'm not saying that I don't want to, I want to do this, but so my story is the following. Remember, I was just discussing this near horizon of longevity technologies, pretty peaceful things that we invest in. And I wanted to dedicate like 5% of our fund, longevity vision fund, to investing in like really futuristic technologies like human brain computer integration interface, human avatars as well. So we look at 3 robotic avatars companies, 2 in California, 1 in Japan. One actually has been built by inventor of human avatars, Professor Tachi. I had an interview with him for my book. And you know what? We rejected all of these companies because robotic avatars, like robotic copies of us that they built, were incomparably more expensive than trying to reproduce us, our brain and our thoughts in virtual environment. So like, to my shock and disappointment as a human being, not as an investor, apparently it's just much easier to like reproduce us in virtual world, and that's it. So that's why we didn't invest there like at all, because I didn't really like the idea of migrating to virtual worlds, but I didn't really like the economics of robotic.
Do you think there'd be 2 types of worlds? Like there'd be a virtual world for perhaps people that are less wealthy, and the real world for people that can actually afford to have medical screens and medical gene therapy and things like that?
So what do I think about this one? I do think we're going to see like 2 different type of worlds, like virtual and a material world, and they will interact and going to be super interconnected, even integrated. Coming back to your inequality question, I'm so delighted to report to you and to our audience today, like almost every technology that we're investing in brings 10 to 20, not percent, but times efficiency gain or cost decrease against current, like a way of treating particular symptom or particular disease. I'm like super happy. Like technology is an opportunity to like democratize this whole thing. And we invested in like portable ultrasound devices, which cost 50 times less than ultrasound device in a hospital next door. We invested in early colon cancer tests, which cost 5 times less than the current procedure called colonoscopy to identify colon cancer risk. We invested in liver regeneration technology, which is 25 times less expensive than liver transplantation in today's world.
Wow.
Like I'm really amazed by the ability of the new technology to completely democratize access to healthcare. I know I'm like super optimistic guy, but like these are the figures.
You sound like it. It's good. I like it. The book is available on Amazon, and I want to encourage everyone to pick it up and have a read. Like, what a fascinating topic of conversation to have this Christmas, eh?
Oh yeah, that's amazing. And again, it's there's so many things that we can do now, and there are so many things that we can dream about and think about ethical choices. What are the technologies which will help us to live longer, healthier, and happier life? But one thing is obvious: we're all going to be living longer or radically longer than we expect, and there are so many implications from this message, from this thought in the book.
Why do you think that 60 to 80% of the population don't want to live longer than the current life expectancy?
Why? Yeah. So number one, as you can imagine, I give it a lot of thought. So number one, we have a wrong model of aging in today's world, because we never actually tried to fight aging. All we've done, we were fighting early death. So that's why, people spend the last 10 years of their life in a very fragile state. That's why, when Sergey Young or any other longevity enthusiast will tell you we're going to live longer, people automatically add another 10, 20 very fragile years right in the end of their lifespan, while what we're working on is reversing aging processes inside your body. So if you want to go to extreme, like in 100 years from now, if not us, then next generations will be able to pick up their target age, and usually it's anywhere between 25 and 45. This is where people think they're in super productive stage of their life. I'm 50, so I'm enjoying my 50s, but I wouldn't mind to kind of go back like a decade or 15 years. So so that's why we all are against life extension, or extending our health span and lifespan.
Longer, but we're going to live in a state of
but it's not going to be the case. Yeah, we just fail to recognize that, because we haven't seen that in the world of medicine and in the world overall.
No, yeah, good point. What do you say, you're in your 50s now or early 50s?
Yeah, I just turned 50 a month ago.
Yeah. What was your so far in 5 decades, what was your best years, do you think, looking back at it? Just an off question.
Look, so God didn't give me the passion in the beginning of my life, and it was only my personal health crisis back in 2014, when I was 43, when I started to develop my interest in longevity and healthcare and health and the human biology. This is where I got my passion. And again, just by saving few human lives, just pushing everyone to do medical screening, I felt, well, here I am. So that's why last 7 years of my life are the best for me, because I changed my mission from like taking care of my immediate family, and I'm from very poor family, from it's not middle of nowhere, from the end of nowhere in Russia, to become a man who is trying to take care of the world and bring affordable and accessible version of healthcare and longevity to as many people as possible.
What was your health crisis?
Oh, no, it's nothing dramatic. Like 40% of people suffer from that. I just happened to have extremely high cholesterol level.
Yeah.
And this is a huge risk factor for heart disease. So I had a choice to live on medication like every day till the rest of my life, or to change my lifestyle and start to work with my health on a completely different level. And I took a second path, and I was so amazed. And in the course of 6 months, I managed through lifestyle interventions. I've managed to decrease my cholesterol to appropriate level, and it was like a huge wake-up call about how human body and human biology works, that our body is literally self-healing organism. I mean, you couldn't heal yourself from like all diseases, but there are so many like processes and systems that can help you to become much healthier and happier version of yourself without relying on like big pharma, if you want.
Yeah. What do you do now? Like, what's the daily sort of ritual look like as far as activities and diet?
Yeah, so again, this kind of 5 longevity buckets from the now horizon. 1, medical screening, we discussed that. Second, I don't do stupid or risky choices. So like, I'm not smoking tobacco. I'm always using seat belts. I'm not riding motorcycle, because the motorcycles are 17 times more dangerous than driving a car in terms of mortality. Third, as a diet, I'm heavily plant-based. I'm not a vegetarian or vegan, but I do have a lot of friends from this community. But I'm heavily plant-based. I'm decreasing my calorie intake, because this is like a proven way to extend your lifespan and health span. Less of the meat and fish, more and zero sugar, added sugar, more plants.
Yep.
I'm fasting. You can do window fasting, like 16 hours fast and then taking your food within the 8 hours interval. I do like weekly fasting sessions, 36 hours every week,
Right.
Monday evening to Wednesday morning. You don't need to be so radical like I am, but I'm just really enjoying
You do
it.
that every week?
Yeah.
What,
Yeah.
water
Yeah,
only?
it's my routine. Yeah, in fact, I'm actually going to detox clinic in 48 hours from our conversation. I'll start my annual 5 days fast. I'm so excited about this whole thing. So that was number 3, decreasing your caloric intake, being heavily plant-based. Number 4 is about physical activity, using your wearable to do 10,000 steps a day. This is a good start. It's a good baseline for becoming fit. And then on top of that, you can put like whatever you want. Like for me, it's cardio exercises, it's stretching and yoga. And number 5, it's what I call peace of mind, because you don't want to be living longer if you're unhappy. So mental health is super important. And for me, it's quality and quantity of my sleep. It's mindfulness and meditation, because we all have extremely high cortisol level. It's a stress hormone, and we'll need to decrease that through meditation and mindfulness exercises. And finally, within this peace of mind, is sense of purpose, living, being a better version of yourself, giving more than you take from the world, and help others succeed, sharing the best of you with the world. That's important.
There's some really good stuff in that. With your mindfulness, what does that look like in a daily routine? Do you
Yeah, so I started to, I don't know if you've heard about this device. It's called Muse.
Muse?
It's like a device which helps you to meditate. It has like 5 sensors that you put it on your head, and it actually detects your brain waves.
You put it on your head?
Yes, and it gives you use your like AirPods. It's just around your head, right? And you use your AirPods, and it gives you like a feedback. If you are meditating well, it gives you like good sounds of nature, like sound of the sea or birds singing. But if you do a really bad job, it gives you really hard time, like thunderstorm, strong wind. rain, etc.
Great.
So it's really nice and friendly way to give you feedback during meditation. I've done it for a year, a little bit more, but then what I've done, I actually thought there is nothing in this world, probably with the exception of a little bit of silence around me, that human needs for meditation. So right now, what I'm doing, 12 to 15 minutes of meditation in a calm room at my home. I have 4 kids, so finding the silence is a challenge, but this is what I do, like at least 5 times a week, and that's it. And I just meditate.
Good. Hey, Muse, I've just looked it up online now. So you've got a device that sits on your head that helps you with your meditation. That'd be good for us that struggle to sit there in silence otherwise.
Oh yeah, I'm always full of energy. So actually I like, and I'm used in terms of using this like an intro to the world of meditation, and like help me to learn meditating. But then after like, I don't know, probably even 6 months, I didn't feel like I really need this. So again, like you can do it everywhere. And there's so many great things, like there's so many apps for meditation, like Calm, Headspace. Even if you go to YouTube, there's so many like free meditation videos there, and audio. I really love it.
Yeah, there's heaps out there. It's hard to choose sometimes, isn't it, with the overwhelming. Same with wearables, I think. Like you mentioned one before, which I only just recently heard of, which was the Aura Ring.
Yeah.
Have you heard good things about that?
Oh yeah. So Aura, the beauty of Aura Ring is a wearable is that it's actually, it looks like a ring. So when you go to bed, you don't need to wear like Apple Watch or Whoop or Fitbit, which can be a little bit distracting, but like Aura is just a small ring on your finger. And the beauty of that, I'm using this to track my sleep. And every morning I just go to the app and it synchronizes itself with the ring and gets data. And I'm looking to like, what is my KPIs, key performance indicators for my sleep. And I usually track like the overall length, because my rule is 8 hours in the bed, which is 7 hours of sleep. And so that's super important. You cannot really, take hours from your sleep time. It's against your health and longevity. I'm also looking at the length of my deep sleep stage, which is really important for recovery. And I'm just trying for this to be, at least above hour and a half, or up to 2 hours. It's kind of cool. It actually helps you. This establishing feedback through wearables. It gives you the opportunity to change. Like before that, I've done so many bad choices for my sleep, but then what I've discovered, like if I would have coffee after like 2 p.m. and I'm in love with coffee, then it will affect my deep sleep. So it will decrease substantially. Or not to say, but like coffee after the dinner. So I actually switched to decaffeinated coffee, and I can have like a normal espresso, but like at 10 a.m. And the rest of the day I would just take decaf. So that's improved substantially the quality of my sleep. Or 1 or 2 glasses of wine before, like right after the dinner, also would move my deep sleep from midnight to like towards 4 or 5 a.m. and would shorten the deep sleep. Yep. So it's really helpful to understand that you're like, okay, I don't want to sacrifice the quality of my sleep. So it's helps you to change the habit.
Yeah. The lots of things there that I certainly don't do myself, but a lot of ideas that I think I want to look into a bit more.
Oh yeah, look, it's an endless conversation. Human body and mind. I mean, this whole topic is really fascinating, and there are so many things that you can discover on this path, and there are so many things that you can change, and again become like a healthier and happier version of yourself.
Yeah, well, I think it's a topic that needs to be discussed, and because it's not going away, is it?
Exactly.
So it's mate, look, Sergey, I really appreciate your time today. You've got a fantastic book out there, really interesting conversations too. How can people best reach out to you if they want to connect and learn more?
Yeah, two options. One is going to the book. It's The Science and Technology of Growing Young. Second is going to sergeyyoung.com,
Yep.
sergeyyoung.com, and sign up for our newsletters. Every month we send you a newsletter with a lot of science and technology, and it's fascinating. And we're trying to use really simple wording to explain it. So yeah, we had an extremely good response rate to our newsletters. That's like two best way to connect. You can go to Instagram at Sergey Young 200, where 200 stands for number of years I want to live on this planet.
Yeah, nice. SergeyYoung.com, guys. Check it out, thehiddenwhy.com. Sergey, once again, thank you so much for coming on and sharing.
Thanks, Lee. Thanks, everyone. Stay healthy and happy.
Check it out, guys. Until next time, peace, passion, and purpose. See you soon. Thanks, guys, for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed what you heard. I hope you love what you're hearing. If you like this episode, guys, or any of the episodes that you're listening to here at The Hidden Why, please do me a favor by sharing it. You can share it with your families, you can share it with your loved ones. You can do that by using your favorite social media channels, using the icons on the platform that you're listening to The Hidden Why podcast. Also, guys, if you're a fan of the show, please connect with me. Connect with me at thehiddenwhy.com. I love to hear from you. I love to converse with the people that listen to this show to find out what they enjoy, what they don't enjoy, and perhaps if they have any questions or feedback for the show as well. You can stay up to date with all that I'm releasing here, guys. I do a solo show every Monday, a 3-minute thought every Thursday. I do 2 interviews a week on a Wednesday and a Saturday, and a book review every Friday. You can stay up to date with all that by subscribing to my newsletter at thehiddenwhy.com. Just enter your email address there, and also subscribing to the podcast on the platform that you choose to listen to your podcast. You can also support the show, guys, by using the Amazon links at thehiddenwhy.com. So if you like books, you can get all the books that I review there, and anything else really that you like to purchase through Amazon. So use that link, it helps support the show. And we've also got a deal with Audible, guys. Audible is a fantastic way to listen to all your favorite books. We've got a deal with them so you can get 2 free books when you subscribe subscribe to a 30-day free trial. So check that out again at thehiddenwhy.com. Guys, that's it from me. You know what to do. Go out there, breathe more passion into every single moment. Do everything with greater purpose, and in doing so you will discover your hidden why. This is The Hidden Why. My name is Lee Martinuzzi. Until next time, peace, passion and purpose. See you soon.